Hello, it's just Jeff Byers, and we're going to take you through the texturing portion of the dice, and this should be video 8. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a specular map. We have the ambient occlusion, which was added to the color map, multiplied through the layers. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to go in and create a specular map from this particular map right here. Now, normally there are things we would make sure we deselect. That would be like text, unless you need a specularity on the text. So specularity, what that basically means is anything black will not reflect the light. Anything white will reflect it. The intensity will be 100%. So with specular maps, we want to keep them pretty dark. So let's go ahead and go to Layer and go to Flatten Image. Okay. And you only do this when you're finished with your color map. And again, some information you may not want to have in here, like text. So we'll go ahead and go to Image, Adjustments, and we want to desaturate. So specular maps run off of a grayscale from black to white. And we're going to go in here and go to Image Adjustments and go to Levels. So now we're just going to darken this a little bit. Make sure we keep this soft. Sometimes you gotta just kind of soften it this way a little bit, darken it this way a little bit, and go this route. So anything that's white is going to be reflective on the object, and anything black will not reflect light. So we want to keep these levels pretty low. So I'm going to click OK, and then when we're done, go ahead and save as. Again, we don't need to really save this as a PSD. We're going to go ahead in here and save this as a targa. So we're going to type in dice specular. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and click on target and then save. Make sure you select 24 bits. Again, if you accidentally click on 32 bits, it may show up with an alpha map, which makes it transparent in Maya. Okay, so 24 bits. Okay, let's click OK. So there's two ways to see this. You need to learn how to use Marmoset, but you can also use Maya to see this as well. So we'll start with Maya, and I'll take you through the process of actually seeing the texture with all the maps on it. And we'll start with that, and then what we'll do is we'll go into Marmoset, and I'll take you through how to add the maps in there. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and make sure your project is set, and once it's set, we can go ahead and pull all the textures in. So I'm going to click on Open, and so finish modeling. Let's see here, what do I got? Let's just do that one. I think that's the one we can use, I believe. Okay. Alright, so when that opens up, there we go. So there's my high poly. I no longer need this one. I can just click on this guy right here. So this is where all the information is going to. This, the whole idea is the finished product is this, believe it or not. So basically we took the high poly and we baked out all the information out of that and onto the low poly. So now we just got to add it on there. So what I'm going to do is click the object, right click over it, go to Assign New Material. And when you do that, Assign New Material attributes come up, and we can click on Maya, and we want to click on or select Blinn, B-L-I-N-N. And at this point, we can go in here and change the name, and that's probably a good idea. Call this dice underscore TX texture. Hit enter, and then under color, this is where our color map is going to reside. So click on the option box right here next to color, and you want to click on 2D textures, click on file, and then filter type, you want to click that off, and when next to image name you want to click on the folder, and you need to be, if you set your project, it'll go directly to all of the maps that you created. Now if you don't put them in here, you won't find them and you'll have to go and look for them. So what you want to do is when you set your project, make sure you set all of your textures, all your UV maps, all your normal maps in the source images folder. So it's easy. So now I can just go in here and click on the color map, and we want to click on the TGA. So I'm going to click open, and there it is. They're my nasty looking dice, old dice. Now if you look at it, you can see that really shiny spot on here. Well, that's because I don't have the specularity map on there. So it's very shiny, you can see that. And normally with brand new dice, it would look like that. But it looks kind of strange because I got all of these scratches, all of these marks on here, and all that nastiness, you know. And that stuff building up on the dice, you know, finger grease and all that stuff, is not going to reflect light like that. In fact, it won't look like that at all. Okay? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to load in the normal map. Okay, so we'll see what that looks like. Now if you're not getting a good representation of your texture, make sure you hit the 6 key on your numeric keyboard or up on the top above your T. Hit the 6 key. That will allow you to turn on texture. You can also go up to shading and turn it on this way too as well. So smooth shade all. So make sure you have that selected. We also have texturing up here. So in the viewport, you can turn that off and on. This is your texture icon, you see? Alright, so the 6 key, or you can click on that icon here. Alright, so I'm going to click it on. And I'm going to click on my object again, and you can see that now I'm going to go into bump mapping. That's where our normal map is going to go. So I'm going to click on that. Click on 2D textures, file. Again, same thing, and this time we're going to go use as tangent space normals. Now if you go this far into it and you need to go back and make changes, I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Let's get the normals on there. So I'm looking for normals. There it is. Click open. Fantastic. Now you can see that pushed in feeling of the dice. Look at that. You can actually almost feel 3 dimensions in there now, which is really cool. So how do I go back? Well, you got these arrows up here. Okay, one goes in and one goes out. So if I click on dice texture, I can actually go in farther to that texture, as you can see. Okay, so in bump mapping, I want to go in here and then I want to go back. So I'm going to go back, and that takes me back here to this portion of the normal map. Okay. So the next and last thing we're going to do is to add the spec map. Now remember, we've got specular that's going across that entire thing. So no matter what I do, it's going to basically show that image to be the same specular over the entire face. So I don't want that. So I'm going to go back, and let's go back out. So I'm going to click on dice texture, and let's go scroll down to specular color. So specular color, go into the option box and do 2D textures, file. By now you're an expert at this, so we'll turn the filter type to off. Go into the folder and find my specular map. So that should be a target, and there it is. So I'm going to click on open, and then all of a sudden it looks not so glaring, like you don't have all this glossiness on the object, and it makes it look a lot nicer. Okay, now someone may say that's too much. Basically what they're saying is that you're not showing any kind of specularity at all, but it is there. It's there. Okay, it is there. It's hard to see with the color map. Okay, it really is. So if I take the color map off, let's take a look just for fun. So let's go back and let's go to and get rid of the color. So I'm going to right click over the color and go break connections. Okay, now if you look at it, it's kind of hard to see. that we can see that some of the shading issues we're having. Let me go into render, go to legacy high quality viewport, and there we go. So the problem with viewport 2 just doesn't show what I want it to show, so I'm going to go to renderer, legacy high quality. This is the old render viewport, and this actually shows the beauty of a spec map. Look at that, it's got all that beauty, and that's what makes your texture look so realistic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a nice view of that, and then I'm going to put the texture back on there really quick, so you can get a good idea what that looks like. So back on goes the texture and my color, TGA, there it is. Boom. Okay, so now we got a nice representation of what it's really going to look like. And this is pretty good representation of what it's going to look like in the game engine as well. And we'll be taking you through that. And you can see some nice specular highlights going on this side. So it looks really good. Very happy with this. So you can save your work. Okay. And we can finish, maybe type in finish texturing or something like that. There we go. Looks good. Alright, so save that. And then the next step would be to take you into Marmoset. And we'll see you next time.